Welcome to the first recorded episode of Canadian Politics Radio. This show will be recorded on a weekly basis and will discuss the news and politics of the previous week. This first episode, I'll talk about the aftermath of the recent Canadian election and what the future could hold given the current circumstances. On the night of October 21st, Canada re-elected the Liberal Party under the leadership of Justin Trudeau to a second term. Only this time it will be a minority government as the party fell 13 seats short of the 170-seat threshold for a majority. The Conservative Party of Canada under leader Andrew Scheer won 121 seats, which is 22 more than they won in 2015 under Stephen Harper. The party won seats in New Brunswick and the West, where they almost swept both Saskatchewan and Alberta if it wasn't for an NDP win in the city of Edmonton. The Conservatives picked up a couple seats in Ontario as well, but also lost a few, including the riding of Milton, which was held by high-ranking Conservative Lisa Raitt, and Kitchener-Conestoga, held by Harold Albrecht. The NDP was reduced to just 24 seats, which was down from 44 in 2015, which was down from 103 seats won in 2011 under leader Jack Layton. The NDP was all but wiped out in the province of Quebec. Their only seat remaining is in the city of Montreal. The resurrection of the Bloc and the rise in popularity of the Green Party and the parallels of their platforms could be to blame for their worst election performance in over a decade. The Green Party won 3 seats this election, which is 2 more than they won in 2015, and they won their first ever seat outside of British Columbia. The riding of Fredericton was won by a young female Green Party candidate. At one point in the campaign, the Greens were expected to carry all of Vancouver Island, but they managed to pick up just 2 seats, both of which they had already held. Maxime Bernier lost his Quebec riding of Beauce by a rather large margin to the Conservative candidate, though he vows the People's Party will live on despite any federal representation. Ousted Liberal Cabinet Minister Jane Philpott lost her Toronto suburb riding to a Liberal candidate, and the more high-profile independent candidate, Jody Wilson-Raybould, retained her Vancouver riding. She was the only independent candidate to win a seat. Major defeats of the night included longtime Cabinet Minister Ralph Goodale being defeated in Saskatchewan, Deputy Conservative leader Lisa Raitt being defeated in Milton, as previously mentioned, and Natural Resource Minister Amarjeet Soji being defeated in Edmonton. One thing became very clear after the election was said and done. The West was not happy with the policies of the Liberal Party, as they were soundly rejected in Alberta and Saskatchewan, where they won no seats. In his victory speech, Trudeau acknowledged this and vowed to work with the premiers to work out solutions for those provinces. Shortly after the election, #Wexit trended, which was once a very French movement to have Alberta separate from Canada. The movement picked up mainstream press in the days following the election. In a recent tweet, Premier Kenney vowed to hold a referendum on equalization payments if the Trans Mountain Pipeline isn't built. So far, the Premier has not endorsed Alberta separatism, though. Since the Liberals have lost majority status, they will be forced to work with other parties in order to pass legislation. For most of their social reforms and progressive work, they can probably count on the votes of NDP, Green, and Bloc MPs. For any energy projects such as pipelines and nuclear plants, they'll have to hope the Conservatives vote with them. A vote of no confidence isn't likely to take place for a couple years, barring any ground-shaking mishaps from the Prime Minister.